The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back. Now another hot episode of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh Bow. Got my man Ant Petty Murphy in the building. What's good with you, my boy?
The question is, what's good with you?
Hey,
How you
go
feeling?
Cougs, baby. Go Cougs. Let's
How
go.
you
Go
feeling,
Cougs.
man?
Hey, man, I'm good, man. I'm happy.
I know it's been stressful few months for you. You know, it's finally over with.
Listen. Y'all just don't know. I think for the last 2 months, we've been on the road every weekend, either doing a recruiting trip, going to, either me going to a game, doing something with Dylan, something, man. So I'm gonna miss the free food. I'm gonna miss a lot of things. I'm glad it's over. I am glad it's over. I think I can speak for me. I can speak for my wife. I can speak for I ain't gonna say I can speak for Jay.
Dylan ain't glad it's over. I bet you.
Nah,
that.
Dylan still getting recruited. He's still out there telling people, you know what I'm saying, hey, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm on the open market. You know,
my brother may have signed thing, but my loyalty's still up for grabs.
Yeah, yeah, you know it. Yeah, we gotta I'm gonna fix this camera, man. We got a special guest tonight. We got the man himself, man. Jay'Shon to be with us to talk about his recruitment and stuff. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and tell the truth. Ain't nobody tell it. I'm gonna say it now before we get on there. I know why he made the decision he made. I think we was at Top Golf, right? And there was a woman walked by. She was well endowed in the backside. And he was like, he said something to his mama, and I think ever since then he was just talking about go Cougs and stuff. I don't see Houston got a problem. Houston got a problem. He y'all problem now. He is y'all problem now. He gonna eat you out of house at home, Houston. Take care of him. But nah, for real though.
Ran into one of them little red things down there in Houston.
No, he ran lighter than that. Everything big in Houston. In Texas, shall I say. Everything big in Texas. Let me stop because his mama might be watching.
I almost did so
his mama might be watching. She got white eye. She'll take that signature off that paper.
Oh boy.
Dr. Umar would not be happy. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and y'all know what we gotta do. We gotta give a shout out to our sponsors over at BetOnline. BetOnline.ag. Actually, before we do that, before we go there, let me give a shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Appreciate you, Trey. Weston in here, Paul's Hub. Yeah, that's true. That's true. As long as he stays at Houston the whole time, he'll get to go against LSU in 27 in NRG. So, yep. Our man Julie hit me up yesterday, or not yesterday. He hit me up one day. Said, "Hey, I saw he decommitted. I hope he like where he going." And then we saw it today. He, mentioned some, saying congratulations. But he says, congratulations. Yeah, definitely won't forget this day. He said Houston just got a new fan. A lot of people said that, Houston just got a lot of LSU fans. So definitely appreciate that. Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about that. We ain't gonna talk about that. Yeah, appreciate you. He said he a familiar face on Twitter. All right, appreciate it. Is that GOAT? No, just playing. Just playing.
Where is nah,
dog? It's been a lot of people went missing. Our family in the building. What's good? Cousin Nikki in the building. So but yeah, let's go ahead and do it now. Let me go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor over at BetOnline. BetOnline.ag will be back in 1 minute. BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right. Coming on. Number 2 in the program, number 1 in your heart. 6 foot. Well, we're gonna just say 6 foot. I ain't gonna tell you secrets. 6 foot, 200 pounds, class of 24 wide receiver. Now Houston signee, the newest Coug on the block. Welcome to the show, Jay'Shon. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
All right. First question. Are
really
you driving
good
up all
on
my gas? You driving up all my gas? Okay, never mind. Don't worry about it. Go ahead and
I just say that red look good on you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. You see, I see somebody in the back. There you go.
Somebody in the back. There you go.
Yep. He's throwing up his
the age time. I see.
Yep.
Thank you.
So what was it? What was it like the first time you got an offer?
The first time I got an offer, it was very exciting. I came to my stepdad first and I was like, hey, I thought you got my first offer. I said, I think, because ain't know for sure what type of offer it was like that. That's when everybody was like, they was giving offers, but it wasn't a full offer, stuff like that. So, I was like, hey, is this like real? Like, what is this? And he was like, yeah, you just got your first offer. And I was like, all right, bet. We on the road, we finna be on the road or something. So from then I was like, I knew I had potential.
Let me ask this. When was it that you realized that maybe I should start telling my parents that these people reaching out to me? Because we know a lot of stuff.
The crazy thing is that didn't start to the middle of recruitment. I done had about 4 offers by then, and I ain't tell them nothing. And then next thing I told them, and then that's when they got involved in more after that.
So when did you know that it was? I'm trying to figure out how to word it. When did you know that it was finna be like a real recruitment process, like that you was really sought after and that you was finna have to take your time and pick and choose where you was gonna go?
So I found out when it's gonna sound crazy, but Colorado on Twitter started following me, and I was like, all right, now these big old schools starting to follow my name must be getting out somewhere because ain't no way, people from Colorado now hear my name. So then after that, like, I mean, it's time to step it up even more. And after that, I started telling my parents when even people start following me, I was like, hey, somebody just followed me. You know what that mean, right? Because usually that's how the process goes. You get followed, then they try to talk to you, and then they don't get.
Yeah. Mr. Musket said, congratulations on your commitment. Chris said, look at Pew looking like a proud father. Definitely. Speaking of that, Colorado, and Jay'Shon, do you remember my words when you told me, say, hey, Colorado?
The Colorado part.
I tell you about that ant? He said he said Colorado was following him on Twitter. I said, that's nice. Your ass ain't going there, but that's nice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Dion come back personally.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Straight up, bro. Straight up.
Yeah.
So I know you was committed to South Alabama. What made you decide to commit there?
I mean, like I said, I worked hard for it. So ever since I was little, I was like, I was gonna play big. I mean, not saying that Alabama is a small school or anything like that, because I mean they're a great program, but at the same time, it's just like playing P5 ball is giving me a better opportunity to get to where I want to be at in the NFL, or just, I mean, straight to the NFL. I mean, that's exactly where I want to go, or just being successful in the school, in the academic part. So knowing that I'm being a higher school and a better academic environment is just, it's just a better thing for me and my family.
For sure. I know you knew Coach Fritz from when he was recruiting you over at Tulane, so I'm sure that made it a lot easier, kind of already on some of the staff.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, them are absolutely great people. So I mean, it absolutely made my the recruitment process easier going to Houston, knowing that I knew them when they was in a smaller school. So them being a smaller school and knowing their personality then, and they come to a bigger school and their personalities didn't change. I mean, if it felt like home then, I know it's gonna feel like home when I get up there.
What's the craziest thing that happened to you on one of your recruiting trips?
Yeah, go ahead and tell it. I want to know too.
Is Mama watching?
I don't think Mama watching.
So I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but New Orleans. Everybody knows New Orleans is the so
don't get my show canceled, Jay'Shon.
Yeah. New Orleans is the first time I go to a party, I'm gonna say. And it was a lot of people there, and like my dad said at the start of the show, is it's a lot of girls there. So yeah, I mean the Temptations was kind of crazy, but I think that's probably one craziest thing because I ain't never been around that many people before.
You might as well be used to that now, dog.
Yeah. That was some I think they talked about Ant on that trip we just took. The inner city of Houston is 2.3 million. The actual metropolitan area is 7.2 million people. So yeah, that's definitely a lot of people. I want to ask you this. Choosing a school, and I know you told kind of why you chose Houston and stuff, but what were some things that went through your mind when you were looking at different schools that you want to potentially go to?
I mean, it's really about the
he probably got a call. All right, we'll let him.
Yeah, let him handle that. But
yeah, he'll come back. But yeah, man. We'll let him get Miss Bookie.
I probably shouldn't have asked him that question about his recruiting trip.
Yeah,
I ain't trying to get my boy in trouble.
I mean, he listen. He didn't. It's stuff he don't tell me, but I end up finding out anyway. So
I mean, I understand. Yeah, I was that age once. I wasn't telling my parents everything.
I know. All right, there you go.
I'm
We
sorry.
got you back. That's all right. We got a phone call.
Yeah, I ain't know how that's supposed to work. But
You
so in the process, I was really looking for a family. I mean, no matter where I was going, I was looking for a family and coaches that are like father figures. So, I mean, when I went to every single, school and stuff like that, I was really trying to find out personalities and the environment that I was going to be in, and exactly how they chose to use me. Now, hearing you to other people, it may seem like, oh my God, they're gonna use you, but like, I mean, trying to get on the field, stuff like that. How they plan on giving me the ball, basically. So hearing that from different type of schools and stuff like that, obviously you want to go to a school that is going to throw the rock a little bit more, or that knows who you actually are. Like, for instance, some schools that are just like, hey, you may be a receiver, but at the same time, you can actually be in the backfield. Finding ways to give me the ball and things like that. So that's really mainly the position that I was in, trying to look for a school. And then obviously, where I'm going to be at. I don't want to be in a place where my mom's thinking about if I'm all right, 24/7. She's a little bit calmer. Not just my mom, but my dad also. If I'm all right up there, or if I'm struggling up there because I'm just walking down the street, stuff like that. So
yeah, that's for sure. I'm with you on that.
yeah.
So, of all the schools you visited, of all the schools that kind of offered you, which coaching staff kind of showed the most interest in you as a person, not just as a football player?
As a person, I mean, that's an absolute great question, because if y'all went in our house right now, our whole house is basically filled up with Tulane and South Alabama, and those two schools mainly. If I was at the house right now, I would show you. I have a whole basket, big old bag, and it's full with Tulane and South Alabama. So I would really have to say those two schools. I mean, that really had trouble with my family in that process when Houston wasn't around. We were just like, all right, it's Tulane to move, the South Alabama move. I mean, we really don't know, because they show love, but at the same time, it's just like they're telling you the exact same thing. I ain't gonna say they have the exact same thing, but at the same time, they're trying to. The recruitment process is basically the same way.
Yeah, they're giving you the same pitch.
Yeah, give me the. It was super hard to choose between them two.
Yeah. Tulane wrote. He literally got a letter from Tulane just about every day.
Oh yeah,
personal and then personalized and yeah. So I can agree that.
Oh yeah.
Now that it's over, I do want to because Miss Nikki says, best advice I can give you, now that you have signed, you are not a recruit anymore. Expect the coaches to treat you different. Train and be ready. And lastly, don't sign anything without your parents reading it first. Good luck to you.
I'm not. Thank you. Thank you.
So that kind of brings me to my next question. We know we're in the age of NIL and branding and all this kind of stuff. How much of that was brought up during your recruitment by schools?
I mean, that's a good question. Usually, like I said, before Houston, I just took my Houston visit. So I was really at Tulane and South Alabama. The great thing about those schools is they didn't really try to throw money at you at all. They really just talked about their program and about what they wanted to do with me. And it was like I said, it's like a family. With a family, y'all not throwing around money every single chance. Yeah. So, I mean, I ain't gonna say I didn't get the chance to talk about the NIL, because, I mean, it may have been little flashes about it, but, I mean, I ain't really think about it too deeply, because, I mean, either way it goes, I'm gonna try to make money either way. So I wasn't really too crazy about it.
Which you said something earlier about ultimately goal, obviously, is to make it to the NFL.
Right.
So if you had to say your game is like one player in the NFL right now, who would you compare yourself to?
So, I mean, when I first got here, when I first got to Athens, my junior year, it was DK Metcalf. Everybody was like, "You're a huge receiver," and stuff like that. I'm going to compare DK Metcalf. I was like, all right, I can see that. I started getting my hair colored and stuff like that, going things like that. And then after that, the first game my senior year, somebody was on live, I think, and it was like, "That's Debo Samuel. That's that boy Debo Samuel." I was like, all right. So I mean, now me personally, I don't. You can ask my dad about this. I don't really watch football enough to be like, I'm this type person. But if I was to say I was somebody, I'd probably have to say myself, to be honest. I mean, I'm not in the NFL or anything like that, but
I like that Debo comp though. That Debo
Mhm.
comparison, because to me, I ain't watched the full game. I just seen clips here and there that your pops done showed me, and I watched some of that All-Star game. But the way they involved you on offense with the jet sweeps and just kind of getting your ball in your hands any type of way, you more than just a kind of a receiver to me. You more of like a gadget player. You know what I mean? You can kind of put you anywhere in the offense and throw the ball to you out the backfield. Jet sweeps. You can kind of run all the routes. So I think you more than just like a regular pure receiver. I think you kind of got the same thing Debo does. Just get the ball in your hands, and once you got the ball in your hands, that's when you're really a weapon.
Right.
Another comp I heard, our good man G said DJ Moore.
Yeah, I can see that.
So that was
Yeah.
another one.
Another one that's a weapon with the ball in their hand.
Right. So Jay, I want to say this. I've told you several times. I'm extremely proud of you. I'm happy. There are definitely moments where I want to strangle you.
Right.
But it's out of love, and it's because I know your potential. I see it. I've always seen it. When you first, I remember the first time when we put you in football back in Prattville. And I was like, we finna find out if he want to play football. I said, he talk all that noise in the yard. It's time they finna do Oklahoma. We gonna see if he gonna click clack for real. And you got up and you hit the kid and you kept going. And I was like, okay. I said, well, he can hit somebody. I said, let's see if he'll take a hit. And then you got up there and the kid tried to hit you and you bounced off of it. I said, all right, well, he all right then. I was like, okay, well, I was like, that goes a long way. So from then on, man, I have I've especially when it comes to football or athletics, I've been, since just beyond proud of you. But just seeing the off the field stuff, to being able to, talk to reporters like you did today, talking with other coaches, and Coach Gross talked about it today. You're in an all-star game and they name you a captain. That says a lot about you. Especially when he's coaching one of his own kids, and they're not even the captain.
Right.
That says a lot about you. Keep your head on straight. We got a lot of friends. I got a lot of friends, or we have a lot of friends in Houston. We got family in Houston. You'll be all right. We'll be down as much as we can because you know how your mama is.
Yeah.
So again, man, I love you. I'm proud of you, and just keep being the example.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you got anything for I cry? Let me get this boy off here.
Nah, man.
Little cry, bro.
It's all right if you cry, bro. That's what I'm saying. Ain't nothing wrong.
Yeah.
This man just made a life-changing decision, man. And I'm proud of you too, bro. Honestly. I've been following you for the past 2 years through your pops. I've seen you grow as a player, in these last 2 years. Like he said, man, keep your head on straight. Keep the main thing. Focus on ball. Focus on your grades. You can go as far as you want to go, bro. I'll be rooting for you. I'll be making some games every now and then when I get a chance. Definitely looking forward to that 2027 LSU matchup.
Draco says she proud of you, man.
But just keep doing what you do, man. Focus, like I said, stay focused, keep your head down, work hard, outwork everybody, bro, and you'll go far, bro, for real.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Be careful out there, and we'll see you soon.
All right, got you.
All right. Love you.
All right, man.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up, bro.
All right, man. We can move on, man. Talk about the signees and stuff. Man. Y'all just doing that.
That's what's up, man. That man went P5, bro.
Yeah.
I remember when they just moved that man to receiver. Now that man went P5, bro.
They talked about that today, man.
That's crazy.
When he first got up here, we first moved. We literally moved during the pandemic to a new high school. He got there and they told him because it's funny how we talk about all the time how small the world is. Quarterback for his middle school team played travel ball with his travel ball coach, baseball coach, was one of the coaches in Athens.
Yeah.
And he told him, he said, man, y'all got a kid. He said, my wide receiver just moved up there. And he was like, he's like, he got if he runs a wheel route, he's gonna be wide open. He said it's always wide open. And they said okay. And they ended up moving him to quarterback of all places. And so, and it didn't work out. I mean, because he athletic, so he can throw the ball, but he's not a quarterback.
Yeah.
Sophomore year, we're like, all right, it's gonna be a change. Get him where he needs to be. They put him at safety, outside linebacker, because that's what they need him. But he played.
Yeah.
Then he finally got the wide receiver, and we got to see, you know what I'm saying, what he should have been the entire time.
Yeah.
Not this. I'm not saying he should have been. Not judging the coach.
Nah, it's all good. Sometimes you just gotta,
Yeah.
You just gotta. But that's the thing, though. The fact that he was willing to move around like that show, what I'm saying, what kind of teammate he is. He ain't a selfish player. You know what I mean? It's just however he can help the team, and that type of mentality is the reason where he at.
Yeah. I want to talk about real quick because we always talk about we've had cousin Nick on, and she's been able to kind of share some of her testimony about kind of how the recruiting process go. It's some I want to say about like me, like what we went through. So I'm probably in the house, me and Dylan. I'll say Dylan because Dylan definitely watched, like now he watched football crazy. Mm-hmm. Dylan watched YouTube of old games and come in and tell me like it's brand new. But I was probably one person who watched sports like all the time and stuff in the house. I had my opinions about different teams and different schools, but going on like these trips and stuff, I've gained new respects for different teams, different coaches, coaching staff, understanding, saying a little bit behind the curtain. Of course, I don't see everything, but a little peek behind the curtain, I see stuff. And I've gained a lot of respect for several of these schools. The way they handle the academic side, the balance that they try to have, the workload on these student athletes. So that, man, in itself is huge. That's why I kind of today, and I'm gonna pivot this and get to, LSU signees. So Nick Diaz or whatever, made a comment, a post about bust or whatever.
To be fair to him, it was the top players out of the 2024 class.
Right. They're likely not be
least likely to be bust.
Right. So to be, like you said, to be fair, he did, say that, but it triggered me. Because say, me being a parent, maybe say that I was a writer for Houston. I don't follow many writers for Houston right now or anything like that. But imagine I did, and I see somebody post something like that, my son's name's not on that list. Now you saying my son is likely to be a bust, or kind of inferring that, you know, he has bust potential because he's not on your list. This is a day you should be celebrating these kids making the hardest choice that they probably would ever make, you know what I'm saying, in their life. Because this is not just a 4-year decision, this is a 40-year decision. And that's why you see a lot of people very emotional. They cry during signing day because they know that, you know, like you sign this paper, I can get out of it, but it's like a divorce. You can get out of marriage, but it ain't gonna be easy.
Yeah.
And it's gonna leave some baggage. It's gonna leave some scarring. You know, that people may talk and stuff, but it's hard. This decision is hard. So I don't think there should be anything to take away from this day from these kids. So that's what triggered me about that. You write something for clickbait, and there's a tactful way you could have. You could have easily said something like, because this is something I was thinking, what would I have said? You could have easily say, hey, you know what I'm saying, with the great signing class that LSU has this year, these are a few players that I think have the potential to show stardom or something.
Yeah.
Then that way you're not downgrading anybody, you're just uplifting these players.
You could have said, exactly. That's my biggest thing with it, was you basically downed 22 players in the class just to uplift 5. When all you had to say was, these are the ones I think have the highest floor.
Bingo.
You know what I'm saying? Or something along that nature, where you're not necessarily downing any of the other players. You're just kind of highlighting those 5 players. So I feel like Danny Girl said, word choice is everything, man. Like, for someone who has been in media, he should have known how his words were going to be interpreted. And he should have known that really necessarily wasn't the best thing to say on a day like today, when we should be celebrating all 27 of these players who decided to attend LSU and play for this university. It shouldn't be where we're trying to nitpick and pin them against each other, and, oh, this one's going to be better than that one, and that one's going to be a bust, this one won't be, whenever none of them have even stepped foot on the field yet. You don't know who's going to be a bust or who's not going to be a bust.
Yeah.
You know, and why not? Why are we even worried about any of them being bust? Why not just say you got 27 players and none of them are going to be a bust? You know what I mean? Like, why are we having to be negative and talk about who's going to be a bust and who's not going to be a bust on a day like today? You should be uplifting the brand on a day like today. You should be celebrating these 27 players who decided to attend your university and play for them. And honestly, bro, that was a post that definitely shouldn't have been made on a day like today, but really should never be made whenever you really trying to put down others to lift up somebody else.
Big facts. Yeah, so that's my feelings on it. I'm done with it. I also think it's weird that that's another thing. That's personal. I was gonna say, I think it's weird if you block somebody, but you comment on their post so they can't see it. But that's a different story. Something for a different day. We can move on. But speaking of those 27 great young men who signed today for LSU, I do want to just look at some of those guys or talk about this list. You've got Colin Hurley, Trades Green, Joe Cryer, Kalaj Cobbins, Juwan Johnson, Caden Durham, Orr Williams, Demirian Johnson, C.J. Jackson, Wallace Foster IV, Kylan Billiot, Ethan Callaway, Joel Rogers, Tylen Singleton, P.J. Woodland, Michael Turner, Kyrie Lee Jr., Ahmad Bro, Devin Keys, Bernard Cosby III, Jelani Watkins, Weston Davis, Gabe Relaford, Xavier Debo Atkins, Deshaun McBride, Ariane Burrell, and Sean Washington.
It's a solid class, bro.
Man, I like it. I like it. I'm excited to see Ariane Burrell kick. I don't know why. I just am. I think I've
Man,
seen like some of his highlights and stuff. He kind of reminds me of
he got a big
that like
leg.
destroying.
He got a big leg for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think that's a good class. Right now, you depending on the recruiting service you look at, you 10 or 11 in the country with some other names still on the board that might sign later this week or in February. So I think you're in a good spot right now. I think when you look at the roster, when you look at the fact that you got probably 60 something guys coming back, close to 60 guys coming back next year. You're in a good spot with a bunch of guys who can contribute early if they need to, but probably won't need to. So they'll be able to develop. They'll be able to you know, come along slowly, play special teams. You know what I'm saying? And whenever it's their turn, they'll be really seasoned and be ready to contribute. So I think BK did a great job and staff did a great job with this class, addressing some needs when you look at what they did with the linebacker room, what
Big
they
facts.
did with the cornerback room.
All athletic linebackers too.
So
All speedy, rangy, athletic linebackers. They're gonna have to put on a little weight, but
I think you got a couple of them that might. I think Debo need to put on some weight. I think Devon Keys might be able to play right away if need be. But I think that one position you probably look at and would say that they could have did a better job at would be the defensive tackle position. But when you, like I said, when you look at what you got coming back, potentially in Mason Smith and Makai Wingo, potentially, like Blake said on his show earlier today, potentially Jordan Jefferson coming back. The defensive tackle isn't as big of a need, but overall, when you look at this class, I think it's put together pretty well. You got 5 offensive linemen, multiple defensive linemen, multiple linebackers, some good underrated cornerbacks. Got your quarterback, a highly underrated running back. That's I mean, there's no way Caden Durham in the top 5 running back in this class. But I mean, ultimately, when you look at how they pieced this class together, they did a great job of getting the overall class, but also doing a good job of addressing needs like the linebacker position.
Yeah. Our next favorite, our special guest, other special guest is here.
My guy.
Hey,
Mr.
everybody loves him. Everybody loves him. And he got the best laugh in the business.
What's up? I was busy watching Jay'Shon Ridgle highlights. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him before. Dude,
it's my favorite. That's my favorite signee of the day for anyone.
Big time. Let's go. I haven't liked Cougars this much since my college days. So,
hey, Carter, I was telling Ann at the beginning of the show. So my wife had kind of, made some shirts, and she made a shirt said Houston Cougars and gave it to my mother-in-law, and I just died laughing. I just fell out laughing. I said, I was like, "Mama got a Cougar shirt."
Let's go on the prowl. But yeah, it's good to see you, Ant, the WNBA sharp better. And dude, you killed it this year. I'll never forget that, man. You're on a heater. But yeah, man, life's good, man. Life's good.
Yeah. I can say that on screen, everybody watching on screen are the 2 men who helped me stay most sane through this recruiting cycle. So I definitely thank you guys. Sure. Carter, reach. Hey man, I just looked at it and somebody said he asked, they like his potential and stuff. So okay, so maybe I'm not biased, pops. So
let me ask you this, Carter. I know you probably watched a little bit of his highlights and stuff. Player comfort for Jay'Shon. I think Debo Samuel, because when get the ball in his hands any type of way, because once he's got the ball in his hands, he's a weapon.
Yeah, I agree, and it's funny. So like one thing that I use for my evaluations that I do on Patreon, but just on the channel, is I actually use like Dynasty Fantasy Football community. So I think a lot of you are familiar with like Dynasty Fantasy Football. They do that in college now, where there's guys that run numbers on high school kids. So they'll look at their huddle tapes, they'll go to games. Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I know some of these people that do their own scores and evaluations, and they prefer to remain anonymous because, you know, they're in these huge draft pools and they have guys that they like. And the guy that I trust the most, I actually reached out to him and I said, hey, what do you think of Jay'Shon Ridgle? And he was like, oh, this is one of my favorite players, one of my favorite sleepers in the crop. And I was like, oh, it's crazy. And I didn't really, until Pooh Bear told me, I didn't know. So yeah, he gave me some good data. He does his own like recruiting athletic scores and stuff like that. And Jay'Shon had good numbers. So that I told that to Pooh Bear, and that was that. So like I was hooked. So if he normally likes a guy, I like him as well. And yeah, really excited about his future with Coach Fritz.
Yeah. I do want Coach Fritz. That old man can recruit. He can recruit. So going into that weekend, I can say it now because the guys have signed. Kobe Young, he was there. He was a Georgia Tech commit. DJ Butler, he's a running back out of Mobile from Davidson High School. He was a Coastal Carolina commit. And then Jay'Shon, wide receiver out of committed to South Alabama. All three of those young men, when we left on Sunday, had pretty much flipped. They all signed with Houston today. So
yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I actually got to meet Kobe. I didn't realize who he was, but we were sitting there, talking. I'm looking at his highlights on the, where they're talking to him, and him and Jay'Shon showing their highlights and showing some things that they do, and how they kind of complement each other as a duo coming into a class together. I was like, oh, this is great. His mom was like breaking down film and, looking at coverages. I was like, oh, I was like, man, I really like her, and his dad was there kind of, breaking stuff down and stuff. And then I was, I didn't realize, I didn't put two and two together because I was kind of, I was there, we were interacting, but I wasn't putting two and two together. And then when I did, I was like, oh, I realize who that is now.
Yeah. That's cool.
And so
That's
it
awesome.
was
I'm glad you got to experience that. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's a great kid, man. It's like everybody that we met was like, awesome. But man, Carter, I do want to talk about this signing class for LSU. I'm looking here. They've gotten, and we were talking about filled a lot of positions of need. But this might not necessarily be the class that LSU fan looks at and be like, oh my God, this is that number one class. We've got such and such stars and stuff, but they filled a lot of positions of need.
Yeah, now I'm going to tell you who I think is going to bust. No, I'm just kidding. I saw you get crazy over that.
That was that drove me nuts. Yeah.
Now, and look, here's the honest truth: is historically 50% of LSU players that come in work and 50% don't. Now, normally every recruiting class has anywhere from 3 to 6 superstars. So that's, obviously that's pretty self-explanatory, right? So this was a really good day for LSU. There's no other way around it. And I call this the Mary J. Blige class and the drama class. Don't need it in your life, man. Got 27 signatures. Nothing. There was not a lick of anything really interesting that happened today for LSU, outside of some crystal balls that were already going in that direction for LSU. Yeah. And that's a good thing. That's what Brian Kelly wanted. You don't want signing day, kid commit, undisputed. He's going to Colorado. Boom, I'm going to Maryland. What happened to Florida? Bolden. Right. Yeah, KJ Bolden flipped. You don't really want that. You had 27 signatures out of 27 guys. That means everything was in order, right? their NIL was in order, what they expected out of the program was in order. And it's not just the fact that everyone signed, everyone got their paperwork in early. There's no 4 p.m., 5 p.m., anything like that. So really good day for LSU. They filled a lot of needs. And the biggest takeaway for me, guys, is Brian Kelly was very clear today that he wanted to get away from just doing the portal heavy approach. And he said explicitly, I am signing kids from the high school ranks. And you could see it. There's very talented players that they can drop a bag on out of the portal. That's not what BK wants to do. He wants to get high school guys in that want to be a part of it. 23 of the 27 kids from Louisiana or Texas. So he sat out on a plan. And that's something else, with Brian Kelly press conferences, he will tell you what he's going to do and actually follow up on it. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Danny asked a question. He said, which one player in this class do each of you think is the most underrated star-wise?
That's tough. I think the obvious answer's got to be like PJ Woodland, a guy who was player of the year in Mississippi. He's at a position of need also when you look at the cornerback position. And if you watch his tape, he just stands out, man. From that Oak Grove High School in Hattiesburg area where Brett Favre famously worked out at all the time whenever he was contemplating retirement. But I think I think he's a guy that could come in, play special teams, but whenever he's called on to play cornerback, I think he's got good ball skills. He's a plaster type corner, man, plays that bump and run man coverage real well. So I think he's a 3-star guy, but probably should be 4-star, low 5-star whenever you look at his talent and what he's capable of.
I'm going Billy out. If I'm not mistaken, he's a 3-star, isn't he?
He got a 4. Did
he get his 4-star?
Yeah, he got his 4.
Yeah, he got a bump after, but he was a 3-star.
He was a 3-star for
okay. Yeah, that's what was because that was the first one that popped in my head. Just how dynamic he was. He is with the ball and stuff. And
that's a big body. That's another big bodied receiver, basketball player. Kind of reminds me of BTJ in a sense, with their kind of their frame and their ability to high point the ball. And he's got some speed to him as well. So I think he could be another one of those guys who big bodied receiver, kind of Jamar Chase, Terrence Marshall type, kind of in that same BTJ type role. I think he's that same type mold.
Spoken like the dad of a wide receiver. He's going to go wide receiver. I like it. Huh? You know what's funny? I asked this question on Twitter, and you can read all the responses at Power Hour LSU. Number one guy actually was PJ Woodland. I went and counted up. That was, and what makes that very interesting is he's not a Louisiana guy. He's a Mississippi guy. Yep. So normally when you think of like underrated guys, most people choose someone from, Louisiana. Ahmad Bro got a lot of responses as well. This was a guy that when I initially watched him, I was like, oh, okay, he looks like he can be a pretty good player. But I actually am going to go with Devon Keys, right? A really nice, productive linebacker at Aledo High School. A very nice program that's won a lot of state championships. And on top of that, you don't see a whole lot of linebackers also play Wildcat quarterback, and he did that a lot. He was a Wildcat quarterback. He was a running back. Interviews really well. He's a very affable guy. He's probably the best interview in the class. And, you go back and look at someone like Whit Weeks. He was a guy who had some similar characteristics where he wasn't just a linebacker. They put football in his hands on offense. They played him on special teams and all this stuff. So I'm going to go with Keys. He grew on me a little bit. And I am like those people. I normally pick a Louisiana guy that's undervalued, but I am actually going to roll with Keys here.
Yeah. I guess we can kind of shift a little more nationally. Because Paul's Hub brings this up. Florida got destroyed by a hurricane of flips and decommits.
I hate to see it, man.
I pun intended.
I hate to see it, man.
Somewhere somewhere Glenn Guilbeau is writing a piece about how it's not Napier's fault.
I
But
think
yeah,
I think the fact that they got DJ Lagway and they got McCray to go ahead and sign, I think that saved Billy's job, at least for another year, which I hope it saved it for another 5 years because Billy
yes.
Napier is the best thing to happen to Florida football since Steve Spurrier. I mean, we need to keep Billy Napier at Florida as long as possible.
Wait, are you being sarcastic or are you being for real? You think he's good?
No, I think he's terrible, and that's why I like him. So keep Billy Napier at Florida for as long as possible. But honestly, though, what's crazy is if you look at it, Dan Mullen got ran out of town for his
I was going. I'm glad
or his unwillingness to recruit, but he had better recruiting classes than what Billy Napier has done in his tenure there. So it's just funny to me that Florida thought the grass was greener, but it wasn't. But I think Lagway saved their class though, and they got McCray as well. So I know they had like 5 guys flip today, but if you get a quarterback like Lagway, that could be a class saving type get.
Here's my thing that I find very weird about that. You committed to the school for so long. That's the thing. A lot of these commits have been there forever. Why now? Is it more money? Is it not believing in Billy? I can understand from a defensive lineman standpoint. You don't know who your defensive line coach is. That's a valuable excuse, but and they did lose some defensive linemen recently. But yeah, I mean, Billy's in over his head. And I think part of it is him also being the play caller. It's been an issue, but yeah, I mean, Florida's got
very Jimbo-esque.
Let me ask you this: do you think if Lagway wasn't trying to play baseball, also, do you think he's still at Florida?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question because the baseball program is so good. But my thing would be like Texas A&M has a good coach and a good program as well. I know that was a school that was coming after him, and I know
that's kind of late though. But yeah,
right. So it could be, yeah, you're right. It could be one of those things where everything was just already kind of lined up. But it was interesting that it was pretty public that he was still talking to these other schools. But if he, it is in the realm of possibility that he's special. And if he is special, that will put makeup on a lot of what happened to them today. But he might not be, right? And
that's true.
The likelihood of him being special is it's more unlikely that he's special than likely than he's special because there's 1 or 2 quarterbacks every class that is that good. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough go for Florida.
Well, he also got the fact that he's running the Billy Napier offense that might prevent him from being special.
That's true. That's true. I mean, look. Overall, I think Billy's offense is fine. It's just they just do weird things at times, and the only way I could really explain it is they have too much on his plate. I just don't know at a major university that a head coach at a college football power, like in Ohio State, where Ryan Day is also the head coach and the play caller, it's just too much shit you got to do, right? I mean, it's just
Jimbo learned that.
Yes. And I just think most coaches that choose to go that route will just get burnt out because, I mean, Ryan Kelly's days are already 12 hours long. Play calling is a completely different beast. So yeah, it's still wild to me that he tries to do all of
it. And I want to give you credit for something you said before. You talk about Jimbo. When we talked about Petrino, and you said, Petrino may be calling plays, but who's doing the game plan? Texas A&M looked a whole lot different in week 13 than they did in week 9. So
yeah, it's one thing to be the play caller, but it's another thing to install your own offense.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it's interesting you brought that up because on my SEC channel, I've done a lot of Petrino content because Arkansas has been one of the biggest fan bases on there. Arkansas and Tennessee are the 2 biggest supporters of my SEC channel. And I watch a lot of, Bobby stuff, and he was pulling things out in an LSU game I've never seen any OC call.
Yeah.
Like, so it's so important to let your OC be the OC, because that just makes everything so much easier.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Alabama doesn't look like they're going anywhere anytime soon when it comes to recruiting. Saban made some big time flips today. And Georgia, they had a mass exodus of guys and hitting the transfer portal, like Brock Vandergriff, the linebacker. Can't remember his name right now, but he also went to Kentucky. And they had a few other guys hit the portal, but seems like same old for Kirby when it comes to signing day. He gets another #1 class. Like, what is it about these two programs to where they can just keep reloading like this in recruiting?
Some of it is fertile recruiting grounds, right? It's just recruiting who's within 200 miles of you. And Nick has done a really good job recruiting Alabama, and in particular recruiting Georgia. But Nick has also done a really good job of getting the elite out-of-state 5-star quarterback to commit, right? You know, got Sayin today, and then had Bryce Young not too long ago. I mean, they're the two best coaches in the sport. They're the two best programs in the sport for a reason. So no real shocker. Obviously, KJ Bolden flipping was good for Georgia. But, man, I will say Ohio State keeping the Jeremiah Smith kid was nice for them.
That's official. They did keep him.
Well, actually, I don't know. Have
you seen the latest? Have you seen the latest?
I heard the facts hadn't been in. Now that I think about
and then somebody broke down the video, and they kind of zoomed in, and it doesn't look like the pen is actually touching the paper. And
so y'all want to know a secret about that?
It kind of looks like he's barely signing he's not even really signing his name. Like,
so y'all want to know a secret about that? So signing day opens at 7. You can't do anything before 7. We signed at 7. His ceremony wasn't until 9. So we had a NLI paper, like a generic NLI paper, and he signed that. So, but his paperwork was already in for the official. So sometimes that's the case.
But they say Ohio State hadn't received the facts from his yet.
I understand. Yeah. So
wow.
And I'm gonna ask something else, because some schools are doing this, and I don't know why are we still using fax machines when DocuSign exists.
Be fax machine. That's the only way the NCAA will accept it.
I thought they moved on from fax machines.
Yeah, we DocuSign.
They did. Okay. Oh, I guess that's legal. I know at one point that was the only. I know at one point fax machine was the only way.
Right. Yeah, and I get that, but
yeah.
What's good, Doc?
Yeah.
I don't know why people would still use fax. I mean,
because that was one of my concerns. I was like, we're gonna have to go to because like right now schools are closed here. Like we don't burst. I was like, man, we're gonna have to go to the library to do this signing. You know, nobody's gonna be able to. It's gonna have to be a golf clap in there.
Yeah. But
okay, so it's in now. It looks like.
Okay.
Jeremiah Smith looks like it's in.
Speaking of flips, Mike Locksley.
That was hilarious.
Huge.
He's first of all, he's robbing Shane Beamer left and right. And also he stole Deion luggage at the airport. So yeah, it's been interesting to see.
Well, not just that. He beat out LSU for MJ Morris.
That too.
Is that where he went? Wow. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
And MJ Morris said the reason why he went there was for the culture. So I mean, when you look at the fact that it's Locksley, it's Kevin Sumlin's on staff, it's Josh Gaddis on staff. I think Locksley's done a good job putting together an offensive staff that's former head coach, and Gaddis been the OC Miami, Michigan, and other big time programs. So he's put together a great staff to where guys like MJ Morris, and if they are getting Seton, then I mean he's doing is paying dividends in the recruiting trail.
Here's a wildest thing about this, and I think about this as far as like high school recruiting is concerned. So let's just use an example here. Like the best offensive tackle in football is probably Trent Williams at the 49ers, right? So how many times on Undisputed do you think they have talked about Trent Williams the past year?
Never.
Okay. So what's so interesting about recruiting is national talk shows don't talk about offensive linemen when they're actually good. They'll let one offensive tackle make one announcement that is not legally binding. He completely changed his opinion.
He played Colorado like a fiddle.
Yeah, he won a recruiting trip that same weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
God, it is so wild. And I've always found that to be so interesting. And I think about like the beast of the recruiting like media cycle. I've had a few recruits, on my channel, and I will in the near future as well. But I do think about the dopamine fall off when once you sign. Not all these fan bases are hitting you up. Your noties aren't popping off, man. They're friendly with you. You think they're cool. I'm sure Jordan Seaton thought every Colorado Buffalo fan will give him ski trip passes for the end of eternity. But it just falls off. Once you actually go to the school, no one's talking about you as much as they were during the recruiting process. So I've always found that aspect of recruiting just absolutely insane because recruiting content just is so big.
Yeah, I was also laughing at Preston. Yeah, definitely proud pop. And already we've addressed this. We're gonna do a Cougar segment.
A Cougar segment every show, bro.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking
Talk
of
about them with the Cougars. Now, which Cougars we talking about? We'll get there.
Yeah, it's just Cougar. I'll be talking about Houston. We might not. We might be talking about the ladies. You never know. But
BYU.
There you go.
Yeah. Did you see Deion Smith pull up to signing day in a Lambo?
Deion Smith.
Yes, the former LSU receiver. The former LSU receiver turned JUCO receiver who's signing with Ole Miss pulled up to signing day in a Lambo today.
Okay, and where did he sign?
Ole Miss.
Well, Deion Smith is going to be at Ole Miss. I really didn't see this. I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
He's also going to Oxford?
Yeah.
I really didn't know that. I've been so dead focused.
He's the number one JUCO prospect in the country.
Interesting.
I remember the photo of him and Lane a few years ago. Once he decommitted, I think you guys remember they were outside. It looked like they were outside by a nice car as well. Dang, dude, Ole Miss, man, they're stacking up.
All right, so check this out. Me and your boy Sean Fox had this conversation today.
Okay.
Because he talked about how on his show today, he talked about how Ole Miss is killing it in the portal. But if you look at their recruiting classes for the past couple years, last year they were 23rd in the country in recruiting. They had 16 recruits, and they were 27th in 2022 with 18 recruits. So they're taking 10 less recruits on average than LSU, Alabama, Georgia, those kind of guys. And the guys they're getting out of high school aren't the same caliber as the Georgia, Alabama, LSU type of guys. So they really don't have a choice but to put all the baskets in the transfer portal at this point because they don't have the guys that are sophomores, juniors, etc., coming in the high school ranks.
Bingo.
Yeah. And also, Lane doesn't want to deal with high school kids. He just wants to call plays and throw up play sheets and hang out with this 25-year-old girlfriend.
But see, that's and like Danny Girl says, it could be argued that the portal mentality is a renter team concept that will never produce long-term consistent success. And I would argue, case study, LSU secondary. 1 year you had transfer guys that were experienced and it worked. The next year you brought in transfer guys not as experienced, it didn't work. It's a crapshoot anytime you hit the transfer portal, and you're not guaranteed that the guys you hit on are gonna pop. But if you take that high school guy, you have time to develop him, and by year 3, he's ready to pop. But the transfer guy only has 2 years left, and he don't pop, then it's over with.
Yeah, that's why I think this high school class for LSU is going to be an interesting case study, because LSU's got money. I mean, they could have gotten – so you mentioned Kentucky a minute ago. They could have gotten Dumas Johnson, the Georgia linebacker, and paid him whatever they paid Kentucky, and he would probably pick LSU over Kentucky. At least I would think so, unless him and Brock Vandergrift are like best friends or something. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because Brian Kelly, like we mentioned earlier, is just going to be focused on doing the high school thing while also bringing in some portal guys. There's some good news on the way there. But what makes it interesting from the Ole Miss standpoint is I get why you're doing it now, right? They've got everything lined up. They got their quarterback coming in or staying. They got their running back staying. They got their best receiver staying. They have a national championship caliber defensive coordinator, right? Everything is just kind of aligned for them to really push their chips towards the middle. And at the same time, they have the softest opening schedule out of anybody in the SEC next season. So they're just putting all their chips all into this year, paying for all these guys, and I get why they're doing it.
But at that point, there's no excuses, right? So if you don't make the playoffs next year, it's a failure for your Ole Miss.
A colossal failure because they are burning through a lot of money to get these guys, right? Like, for instance, so I used to do, and as you know, you were a guest on it, I think 3 or 4 times. I used to do radio in South Carolina on a fill-in basis. And I didn't know their fan base as much as they knew their fan base, right? So, and I still follow and still know a lot of people there. And Juice Wells, a wide receiver that they brought in, he got money. Like, I mean, it wasn't like they didn't treat him well. So Ole Miss would have had to do something to get him there, to get Walter Nolan or to get whoever else they're going to get. You got to do something to get them to go to Oxford to be part of their program. So shout out to Lane. He's a really talented coach, and I can't wait to see this experiment next season.
That's a pressure cooker he's building up, man.
Yeah. Big Nick said Lane is building his resume for Florida.
100%.
So yeah, I got one more recruiting question, and then I want to we can talk a little like bowl a little bit, just a little bit. Mario Cristobal in Miami on fire today. We talked about the Florida flips and stuff. They put together a D-line class that's second to none. Great class.
Flipped the running back from Ohio State also.
Yes. We talked about Lane and putting all his eggs in one basket, not succeeding. With this being now year 3 that we'll see with Cristobal. If we don't start seeing results now, this class that he got in, I'm not expecting them to immediately be successful. Of course, 2-3 years, but if we don't start seeing improvement in Miami, will it even matter how good Cristobal recruited because he won't see it.
Yeah, so you brought up Gaddis and that experiment failing was just crazy to me because Gaddis is really talented coach, And I know some of the people that actually helped make that happen, and it was just a colossal failure. And this year they've been a little bit better with Idri and whatever the offensive coordinator's name is, slips my mind. They've been a better team this year. But the issue is Cristobal being a head coach. He's not actually good at the coaching football part of it, right? You could see it with Justin Herbert at Oregon. He can recruit his tail off. He can do some developing. It's between the headsets where he's just not that great. And it seems as if he's got like the same thing that Willie Green struggles with, right? It's not realizing that what you're doing is wrong, but you keep doing it. Like Willie Green should play Trey Murphy more. At least I think he should. I'm not able to watch the games, but I just watch the highlights. But
You
Trey
are
Murphy,
correct, sir.
right? So I mean, you know basketball as well. Anyone, and you got to have floor stretchers, right? It's so key. But Willie never plays it, right? Pelicans have one of the fewest 3-point attempts in the clutch in modern NBA history right now. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, really, it's obvious. You got to have 3-point shooters. That's how everyone wins titles now, as it stretches the floor, but you won't do it. Cristobal's kind of in the same spot, right? And I understand a lot of focus was on the kneel down stuff. I get it. That was the dumbest thing ever, but it's more than just that, right? And they had brutal losses this season. They had some good breakthrough wins like Texas A&M, but man, between the headsets, he's just such a disaster.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of his. Cousin Nicky seems to think that Cristobal and Lane have to win to put themselves in the conversation for a future Bama job, in her opinion. I don't know about Cristobal and Bama. I think Cristobal is where he wants to be, being back in Miami.
Right.
Lane, I can definitely see it, but I don't know if Alabama. Lane's gonna have to tone down a lot of his antics if he wants to be the Alabama head coach, in my opinion. But I agree he's got to win a lot more, also, in my opinion. But Pooh, you said you want to talk bowl game, like LSU bowl game?
Yeah, because Danny actually asked a great question. And because I've been hearing about this. Did y'all hear about Kai Preen experimental practicing as a cornerback, and thoughts? And she acknowledged that she spelled Kai wrong, but
no.
But I had heard that he was playing a little cornerback. I don't know. I think if he is, it's more of a depth piece because I think we do see the young guys, and just if we just spell them a little bit, I don't necessarily think it's a long-term thing, but maybe something like a Manny Netherly because versus UCF.
Oh God, no! Please no!
Just because you need it, you needed bodies.
We destroyed that poor man.
Yeah, we did.
Netherly. He was never saying that, man. But to be fair, though, it might be easier for him to get on the field as a DB.
That's true too. Very true.
It's a logjam at that receiver position.
Very true.
Yeah, this is always important when it comes to wide receiver, right? If you're a wide receiver, you feel good when you get targets, right? If you're a DB, you feel good when you play, right? And there's always going to be more DBs on the field at a time than wide receivers on the field at a time. So statistically, you have a higher chance of likelihood being happy at defensive back because, if you're a wide receiver, yeah, if you win and you don't get targets, that's fine. But you're playing wide receiver to catch the football. But if you're a DB and you never get targeted, of course you want to get targeted. Yeah, I don't think Morris Claiborne liked it when people avoided his side of the field, but you're still doing your job, right? It's a badge of honor that you don't get action at DB. So yeah, it's a good point about the log game, especially when you have goats like Malik and BTJ there. But yeah, bowl game. Excited for Garrett Nussmeier. Excited for this team prepare.
One player one player that we haven't seen much of, other than Nussmeier, that you kind of expected pop in the bowl game?
Oh, I think it's Shelton Sampson. I really do think so. I'm not backing off how I felt about Shelton coming out of high school. I think he's a really, really, really good football player. And he just had, just a nightmare evening versus Rambling, and now he's going to get a shot, right? This is a guy who's had some dominant moments in practice, and I really had a good grade on him coming out. So hopefully we do see more of him. But with Malik and BTJ being there, those should be the guys that play. In defense, I'm going to give you a deep cut guy, of course, Jeremiah Hughes. Okay, but I will also give Jackson Howard. Right, this is a guy who LSU in the middle of the season said we're redshirting you. And he got a snap or two in the Texas A&M game on defense. So this could be a good opportunity for him to, showcase some of his skills and what he could bring as a really good athlete coming out of Minnesota. So I'm gonna give you a deep cut guy, number 11 on defense.
I'm with it.
What is the status of Locust Diggs for the bowl game? Do we know? Is he opting out? Is he playing? Is he injured?
He's
I know he's been banged up.
Say
it again.
Yeah.
I know he's not opting out because JD is the only one who's opted out.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So if he's healthy, he's gonna play, as far as I know. But
because that was leading to my I was gonna say Trey Holly is somebody.
That was
But if Logan Diggs plays, I think this is going to be a Logan Diggs NFL audition.
That was my answer, Trey Holly.
Yeah, I'm looking for a Trey.
Of course. I love it.
Everybody say he's practicing, so
I'm
playing. But I mean, you still might see Trey Holly as the answer because you gotta look at the fact that Amari Goodwin hit the portal, John Emery's hurt. You know what I mean? So you gotta take that in consideration as well. But I think and I have no intel whatsoever on this, but I'm gonna go to Sean Womack.
Oh, okay.
For some of the same reasons you said about Jackson Howard, I think we started to see Womack come on later in the season, get some reps defensively. He kind of flashed here and there whenever he got reps. So I think they're gonna try to give him some more reps in this bowl game, and I think we'll see him make a play or two and kind of show his true potential.
Yeah, and to your point, Pooh Bear, because you have to skedaddle here.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they do play a lot of guys who haven't played at all.
Yeah.
Right? Because what are you going to learn about any player that you've already seen? Is any player who has struggled throughout the season going to take some massive leap versus Wisconsin? Probably not. But what can you learn about a player who's not had a legitimate shot like Shelton Sampson? Damn, give him a shot. Let's just see what he can what he can do in an actual game setting. So yeah, it's what I would like to see. But Pooh Bear, once again, this is your day. Congratulations, man. It's hopefully an awesome accomplishment that your son's getting to play for the Fighting Tillman Fertitas. It should be a great evening. It's also good to see Preston in here, Nikki and Danny and some other legends. So guys, thank you so much for letting me be a part of your platform.
Oh man, Carter, I appreciate you as always, man.
Appreciate you, big dog.
Big day. All right, guys. Cheers.
All right, Carter out. Man.
Yeah, man. That's my guy.
What a day. I do want to announce before we get, because I know we're getting close to a wrap up. I want to announce, man. I know on Thursdays it is HBCU hour. LSU fans, y'all might want to stick around and come check that one out. Cardell Thomas will be joining us tomorrow. Talk about winning the HBCU national title, his season playing at FAMU and everything. And we might even talk, do a little,
flashback and see how he enjoyed his
Walk
time.
down memory lane.
Yeah. So LSU fans, definitely make sure y'all come through for that one tomorrow. Yeah, man. What else we got before we get up out of here? I do want to say, them pails.
Man, don't even get me started on that. Don't even get me
started my. I was on the roll. I was like, man, look, this parlay finna be easy.
20-point lead, man.
They finna be easy money.
I'm about to put you outside.
And they yeah.
This dog about to get put outside.
Your dog, man.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the Pelicans. I was like, yeah, they need to be outside.
Oh,
they need to be shooting after the street light come on.
You notice I ain't got my stuff on. I ain't right. Letting Pelicans get for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, they on punishment. Yeah, Miss Nikki brings it up. UAPB plays Ole Miss tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that one too. If y'all, we had Don Thornton on Monday. Talked about that one. That is
speaking of women's basketball. LSU women with an 80-48 win over Coppin State today. Angel homecoming played back in her hometown, Baltimore today. So congratulations to the Lady Tigers.
Yep, and they are off until the 31st, December 31st. It's the next game. But yeah, she definitely
they out laughing at Danny girl.
That is funny. That is hilarious. Oh man.
Hey, cousin Nikki, what time does UAPB and Ole Miss play tomorrow?
Yeah, that's a good one. What else we got before we get up out of here, man? What she said 1 o'clock. Ooh. It's a bowl game tonight at like 9 o'clock. Or not, is it? It ain't. Nope. It ain't tonight, or is it tomorrow?
No bowl games today. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock.
Oh,
South Florida.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Why did I think it was tonight?
Y'all don't play today. I was so mad because there wasn't no bowl games for me to watch while I was at work earlier. I mean, I shouldn't have said that, but
man, it's Christmas time. Ain't nobody doing no work for real. Man.
But yeah, no bowl games tonight.
Man, I've been clicking, looking for the bowl game. I thought my TV was tripping.
College basketball on right now, though. North Carolina and Oklahoma playing right now.
Oh,
good game. Then you got Alabama, Arizona come up later after that.
Okay, I gotta catch the news. I got recordings on the news all night. Shout out to our good friend Mo Carter. So I got to see him today. He came through, him and actually pretty much all the news crews and stuff for the signing ceremony, ask questions and stuff, and got to do a quick interview. But yeah, I got to talk to Mo, and it's funny. The first thing he asked me when I saw him, what's going on at Texas Southern?
man. We need to bring G on tomorrow.
We can do that. We can arrange that. We'll see if we can get that arranged. But yeah, that was one of the first things and then we kind of had conversation about that. Talked about Bayou Classic and stuff, and the hires in Louisiana for the HBCU side. Yeah, man, it's been some good stuff.
Shout out to Mickey Joseph.
Big shout out to Mickey Joseph. Back in Louisiana, back at Grambling. I'm ready to see what the staff look like, see how things go. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think. Let me look at the calendar because we coming up on some things.
Sunday, no show.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it's Christmas Eve. Don't expect to see us Sunday. Don't expect to see us Monday. I ain't making no promise for Wednesday or Thursday.
Me neither. Or the following Sunday after that.
Oh, we can do New Year's Eve. We can do something.
I might be a little
I mean, we'll
too
be
heavy.
early.
Well, we might can do an early show on New Year's Eve.
That might can work.
But by 7 o'clock New Year's Eve,
that could work. Yeah.
You don't want me to do a show on New Year's Eve about 7 o'clock, man. We might need to do about 3:30, 4 o'clock, something like that.
We might work something out, man. Post church show, something like that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Danny says, shout out for keeping it real, sharing a special moment with your son. Man, I do appreciate it. We try to be transparent. We try to be transparent
to you, man, for real. Hey, I know we done had many long conversations about this process. I know how it's been weighing on you, stressing you out.
Yeah.
I know how you wanted to strangle Jay through this process at different times. But ultimately, I do know that you are glad it's over with. You good with his decision where he went. And I'll just say, from outsider looking in, congratulations to you and yours.
We do
well deserved, and I'm glad you was able to, experience this moment. But now that it's over, just sit back, relax, and just soak it in. The fact that, my boy, you got a P5 wide receiver living with you, dog.
Yeah, I do, man. We do.
My boy, P5, man.
I'm excited, man. Football season ain't get here quick enough. The one thing I was laughing about, I was telling moms, I was saying, man, we ain't gotta buy no more tickets to them high school games and go sit out. I said, we ain't gotta do it. But then I thought about it. We gotta buy plane tickets if we finna go to the game now.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I mean,
NIL money. We gonna have to get some of that. We're gonna need some more sponsors on this show.
Hey,
so we can do media live from the game.
Hey, we might just need to make, man. I'll holler at you offline.
All right. But hey, we do Miss Nikki. I definitely want to tell you especially thank you so much. The words of wisdom, some of the things that we asked when we first brought you on to ask you questions about recruiting and stuff. I needed to hear every word of that, and I used that to help guide us. Talked it through with my wife to just kind of, hey, this is some things that we've been hearing. There's some things we need to look out for. So I definitely want to say thank you. Like I said, Carter, I was able, to talk to Carter about different things. Like, and he was like, yeah, I've heard good things about me, and that kind of, reassured me. And then being able to bounce ideas off of you, man.
Oh, it was real, huh?
Yeah, that let me know it was real. So, but yeah, then I was able to bounce ideas off of you, and I do appreciate it, man. I really do.
I'm just glad you was willing to, confide in me about the process, and like I say, everything we talked about from you, that's just, I ain't never been through this before. That's just my ignorant, viewpoint of it, and just what popped in my head whenever, whenever you told me what you said. So, I mean, if I was able to help, no problem, bro. I'm very willing and would do it again in a heartbeat, bro. But I'm just glad you was able to experience this and that it's behind you now. You can relax a little bit and you can just reflect on the ride. You know what I mean?
A little bit, because we're gonna have to do this again when I don't know if what Kayla want to do, but I don't know if he's gonna be a 6'6" chef or he gonna be a 6'6" somebody in the post. But we're gonna have to do this again.
At least next time you already know what
oh yeah,
you'll already know what to do.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do this again with Dylan and Bam. So
right. Hey, I might need I don't know if Bam recruiting get it serious, but I'll do it in a few years with my daughter probably.
Yeah. So definitely, man, definitely look forward to it.
But I'm definitely gonna take my time before we get there. I'm gonna enjoy this freedom. But we in the thick of it now, my boy. Go ahead and get ready. Tell Jazz we Hey, how do you like Houston?
I'm looking at the schedule trying to figure out what Houston game I'm gonna hit. I ain't
Hey, why you playing? I didn't. I'm gonna give me a Spirit membership.
Let me look it up real quick. Hold on.
Give me a Spirit membership so they can do the punch card. Ain't it like air 5 flights with 4 flights from Spirit you get a free? I don't know. Don't they got a punch card or something? Something
like that.
I'm definitely finna be.
Oh dang!
Ranking up miles.
You already know who I was looking for next year on the schedule.
Which one?
The Big 12 game, man.
Oh yeah. Oh, they ain't on there.
They ain't on there next year.
The year after that they on there though.
2025.
If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yup.
If I'm not mistaken.
We don't know where it's at though. Oh, it's at home.
Yeah. The new facilities will be open by then too.
But you know what though? 2 will be gone.
Yeah.
And Travis will be gone, but next year though, I'm looking at this Utah game though.
Man, I can't wait. It's gonna be fun.
Looking at this Utah game, might have to slide the H-time for that Utah game, man.
Yeah, we're gonna hit up Tony. Tony gonna have to him to let me call Lathan.
Tony, Dion, somebody. We got too many people in the H for somebody better hook us up.
It's going down.
But nah, man, congratulations, bro, for real though, man. And once again, Jay'Shon, congratulations to you, brother. Keep your head up on straight. Keep the main thing, and go ball out in the H, man.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, man. So, congratulations to all the young men who signed today at all these different universities. Again, like I said, I know this decision did not come light, and hey, no matter where you ended up, God put you there for a reason.
Definitely.
All right, man. Let's get up out of here. We'll be back.
Maybe next week. Maybe next Wednesday. Maybe.
Yeah. That look more. So until then, I know we ain't gonna see y'all. Merry Christmas. And like that, we are out. This show was presented by betonline.ag. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.
Golden Boot!